Hey guys, and welcome to our new video. We have already done a review of Feren OS, an increasingly popular Linux distribution based on Ubuntu that features a KDE Plasma desktop environment. A new snapshot called Feren OS Flerovium has been recently published and we wanted to check it out. Let's see what happened. This is not a classic OS review. For instance, we have covered the Feren OS installation process in our previous video. So, if you're interested, you can check it out.
As usual, being an Ubuntu-based distribution, the first thing Feren OS offers after the clean install is an update. Configuring the Feren OS Update Manager and updating a package that needed a bit of attention went smoothly and with no issues. As a GNU/Linux distro featuring a KDE Plasma desktop environment, Feren OS offers multiple customization options, including plenty of very beautiful wallpapers. A new set of desktop backgrounds is added too. For the video, our choice is this one. The default web browser in Feren OS is Vivaldi, which we customized to our needs. Also, we have added the Firefox web browser, which is nicely incorporated into the system. You've probably noticed that in its default setup, Feren OS offers a classic desktop paradigm. The operating system features its own app menu, called Feren Applications Launcher, which is quite simple and easy to navigate. In our opinion, categories letters are too small and they leave too much empty space on the left-hand side of the menu. Yet, if you don't like the default app menu, you can change it, as is usually the case in KDE Plasma-based Linux distributions. This is the new Plasma app menu, which you can choose in Feren OS if you want.
Speaking of the app menu, it reveals that Feren OS offers many apps pre-installed, and the user is ready to go as soon as she or he installs the system.
So, in the graphics category, a user will find several apps, including Krita, a digital painting and photo editing application. In the Internet section, you'll also find Web Browser Manager, a Feren OS in-house app for installing and uninstalling popular web browsers. Microsoft Edge is not yet available, but Feren OS obviously plans to incorporate it as soon as it's possible. In the Multimedia category, we added Simple Screen Recorder, a very popular app for screen capturing. The Office category brings in a full LibreOffice suite, and it's the newer version of the suite. There's also the Science and Math section, and then goes the Settings category. It features many important apps for your system maintenance. For instance, there's the Feren OS Store app, which is obviously based on Linux Mint's software manager. Installing apps from the Flatpak platform is included by default. That means a user gets loads of popular apps with their latest versions. Within the Settings category, Feren OS also brings in Synaptic Package Manager, a classic graphical program for installing and uninstalling software in Debian-based systems. It's very powerful and easy to use. You just need to search for an application and mark it for installation. But more on that later. The Feren OS Settings category also features Update Manager, which also resembles the Linux Mint's one. It's also the place where you can do a whole lot of your system maintenance. And last but not least, there's also the System Settings app, which is really a Swiss Army knife of the KDE desktops, where you can tweak everything and anything within your operating system. Like, for instance, the looks of your system. This is the default Feren OS theme. It's really clean and polished in our opinion. You can also quickly choose light and dark themes, which are implemented instantly. Right-clicking an item, such as the panel at the bottom of the screen, allows you to enter the edit mode, which enables a user to manually configure their desktops. For example, you can change the size of the panel, add widgets, and do many more different things. The system category also contains the Driver Manager app, which is very important if you happen to need any proprietary drivers. Additionally, Feren OS offers by default the KDE package installer application that automatically installs programs distributed in .deb format. It's very handy, especially for novice users. KDE is a GNOME project app, but Feren OS still has included it in its arsenal, which is a very positive move in our view. In the system category, you'll also find Timeshift, a system restore utility that helps you return your OS to the last healthy state it was before something wrong happened. Timeshift is intuitive, rather self-explanatory, and easy to set up. But we will not go into detail in this video. The default terminal app in Feren OS is Plasma's console. Feren OS is an Ubuntu-based distribution, so all the Debian commands do apply in the terminal application. And finally, there's the Utilities category. There you'll also find Files, which is the default file manager in Feren OS. It's actually Nemo, the Linux Mint's default file manager, and Feren OS uses it instead of Plasma's default Dolphin file manager. Nemo is also perfectly incorporated into the Feren OS and Plasma desktop environment. Feren OS strives to be a perfect blend of useful items taken from multiple Linux projects. That's why in the Utilities category there is an app called Disks. It's also a GNOME app for managing drivers and media.
In Feren OS, you can also tweak your desktop by adding widgets to it.
Right-click the empty desktop and click the Add Widgets option. Then you will have many options at your disposal. For the video, we will add and configure the Weather Report widget. Speaking of the desktop, at its top there's a Calendar and Notifications area. On the very right-hand side of the bottom panel, you'll find your Status and Notifications applet. There you can also manage your disks and devices plugged into your computer. Then to the left goes Volume Control, and the next is the Update Notifier. In the center of the panel you can pin your favorite apps, while on the left-hand side of the screen, as we have already seen, there's your app menu.
Now, let's go back to the issue of installing applications in Feren OS. Let's see how it works when it's about installing apps from the Flatpak platform.
We will try and install XNView MP, a rather popular photo editing application. XNView MP is successfully installed, but again, like in our previous video, apps installed from other sources rather than from official repositories are not properly shown in the app menu right after the installation. Let's see if that is corrected after we log out and log back into the system. After logging back in, we can see that the XNView MP icon is now properly shown in the app menu. The app starts with no issues, but again, Flatpak apps still do not blend into the system properly in certain cases. You can see that its folder icons do not match those system ones. The next thing is to check out how the install process works in Synaptic Package Manager. For the video, we will search for the Focus Writer app, a distraction-free writing application. All we need to do now is to right-click the app and mark it for installation, followed by clicking the Apply button on the top of Synaptic's bar. The app is rendered properly, and what's left for us is only to customize it. We will also test the installation of programs distributed in .deb format. For that purpose, we'll take Ocean Audio, a very capable audio editing app. Of course, we'll take the installation file from their website. Then we will open it with GDB package installer. Ocean Audio is installed as it should, and it starts as expected. Feren OS also supports the use of the app image format. We test this by trying Kdenlive, one of the most popular free and open source video editors out there. As we have said several times before, after downloading the installation file, you need to give it permission to be executed as a program. And finally, double-clicking the file starts the application. Everything works fine, which means that in Feren OS we have another source for installing popular apps. While speaking of the software installation, it's worth mentioning that enabling Snap app support didn't work for us when we tried to do it in the Feren OS's welcome screen.
As we have already said in the video, Feren OS provides multiple customization options. The KDE Plasma desktop is famous for offering users so many options to tweak their systems.
So in Feren OS's system settings, you can change any aspect of your operating system, starting from the appearance, by choosing a different global theme or a desktop layout. If you don't like the default colors, no problem, you can change that too. Several icon themes are also pre-installed. Of course, you can dig even deeper, it's the Plasma desktop. It's particularly worth noting that the latest version of Feren OS now has a Windows 11-like global theme. It's called Doors Dark, including the Doors desktop layout. Wonderful job by the people at Feren OS.
While we were playing around with Feren OS, we also wanted to know how much of the resources the operating system was using.
Feren's System Monitor app showed the OS was using 1.7 GB of memory, which is quite a lot, bearing in mind this is a KDE Plasma desktop, renowned to be a lightweight desktop environment.
All in all, Feren OS is a modern and polished Linux distribution. With this release, Feren OS has made another step in the right direction. What's your experience with Feren OS? Tell us in the comment section below.
We hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe. See you next time.